Hey everyone, and welcome to the Why Not podcast, hosted by me, Yvonne, and Chrissy. In a world where everyone is asking you why, we are asking why not.
Hi, my name's Chrissy. I'm a personal trainer, gym enthusiast, and part-time equestrian. My goal here is to help people feel better about themselves by helping them strengthen their mindset and their body image. And I want them to be able to do things that they never thought they could believe possible. So if that sounds like something you want to do, I want to help you.
Hey everyone, my name is Yvonne and I'm 29. I'm a body positive feminist yoga teacher. Been on this journey of self-discovery for the last few years, really just learning how to take better care of myself, fill my life with self-love, and just learning how to be kind and gentle to others along the way. I'm really interested in all things mental health and personal development. Good morning, Chrissy. How are you today?
I'm good, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm great. So, thank you all so much for joining us today. And we are going to talk a little bit today about the whole idea of not caring what other people think of you, slash caring what other people think of you.
There is a bit of both, I suppose. You get a bit of practice over the years of not caring about what people think, but I think there is always little things maybe that come back as much as you say you don't care.
Definitely. So, simple question to start. Do you care what other people think of you?
I would say sometimes to an extent I do, which makes me hold back on certain things. But then there's a large part of me that really doesn't give a fuck. And I think there's like loads of different things I do that really like obviously I have no problem with dyeing my hair wild colors, and obviously like I'm just like people are like, whoa, why would you do that? I'm like, because I can. And then sometimes maybe, for instance, I want to put stuff out more so on my business where I would say where I do care what people think there, and I'm kind of like, but maybe that I think that's more my problem because I don't think anyone really gives a shit, to be honest. I do find like I hold back, but it's not like the people care, it's I care. So it's kind of
Yeah, and I guess you are creating like when you're doing something like social media for your business, like you're creating an advertisement for yourself and what you stand for.
yeah.
So I guess it kind of is important to like make that fairly curated, like, and to put in some care.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you'd be afraid to post something for what someone might think, but then at the end of the day, they're not the people I'm targeting, so why should I care?
Yeah, true.
So it's a kind of weird double-edged sword, I think. But I think now
Yeah.
I care less than when I was younger, which is a big thing.
Do you think you cared a lot, like say in your school years or your teens?
I'd say so. I'd say I tried to act like I didn't because I was still always a bit different. And I was like almost like that as a badge of honor. It's like, fuck you guys, I don't care. I'm like this. But really inside I was like, please be my friend. Why do I have any friends?
Oh, I know, yeah.
Whereas now when I say I really don't care about something, I really don't. I'm like, yeah, I don't have that many friends. I don't want many friends. Ugh. That would be so much effort.
Yeah. Yeah. I have my few little friends, and that's enough for me.
Yeah. And even then sometimes it's too many. I'm like, do I need to do a cut?
Yeah,
Don't
I
worry,
hear
Yvonne,
that.
you're safe.
I hope so.
What about yourself? How would do you think you care or you don't care or what way it affects you?
Yeah, I think similar to you. Like, I think I used to care loads more. In fact, I would wager that most teenagers or, people, school people. Good morning, Chrissy. How are you today?
I'm good, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm great. So, thank you all so much for joining us today. And we are going to talk a little bit today about the whole idea of not caring what other people think of you, slash caring what other people think of you.
There is a bit of both, I suppose. You get a bit of practice over the years of not caring about what people think, but I think there is always little things maybe that come back as much as you say you don't care.
Definitely. So, simple question to start. Do you care what other people think of you?
I would say sometimes to an extent I do, which makes me hold back on certain things. But then there's a large part of me that really doesn't give a fuck. And I think there's like loads of different things I do that really like obviously I have no problem with dyeing my hair wild colors, and obviously like I'm just like people are like, whoa, why would you do that? I'm like, because I can. And then sometimes maybe for instance I want to put stuff out more so on my business where I would say where I do care what people think there, and I'm kind of like but maybe that I think that's more my problem because I don't think anyone really gives a shit, to be honest.
Care a lot about what people think. And now, probably for the most part, I really, really don't. Like, really, really don't. However, it is kind of always in my somewhere in the back of my mind, like I'm like a pleaser. I think I like people to like me,
Yeah.
and I that probably comes from school and stuff, like when I wouldn't have had lots of friends or anything like that, and yeah, would have had a hard time like making new friends and stuff, and I would have had a really hard time like transitioning from being a child to being a teenager. I found that transition so hard. I think I was just like behind, like physically and emotionally. Like I looked like a kid when all of my friends started like looking like teenagers.
Mm.
And so I didn't like relate on the same level or something. I don't know. Like, and then I think as well, I was like, I don't want to say immature because it's not like I wasn't immature, but I wasn't ready to like grow up and like do adult things. I was like, no, let's play games. So I would have tried, I guess, to like fit in with like would have tried to like yeah, pretend I was really something that I'm not. No. Yeah, now I really genuinely don't care. If you like me, great. If you don't, that's fine. But yeah, I guess I would get caught up every now and then randomly if I just know someone doesn't like me, or like I'm just getting a cold vibe from someone, which happens a lot. Like not everyone's gonna like you, and that's grand. But if I'm getting that vibe, I think that like young version of myself is like, oh my god, make them like you. You have to be liked, and I have to be like, no, you don't. It's fine. You're not gonna get along with everyone.
I think, yeah, I think I have that as well, but I think we both project it really differently. Whereas, like, you come in with people you don't know and you're like, hey, and, really like friendly and all that stuff, Whereas with me, I'm like, I don't speak until I'm spoken to. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
might come off as standoffish and rude, but really I'm just going, how do I come into this conversation? What if I say something stupid? I just gotta stay quiet. It's easier.
I've learned that I wasn't always that way. I would have before, I'd say, been more shy, and like just not talk and wait. And to be honest, that's kind of the way I prefer to do it.
Mm.
But I think I developed this as a defense mechanism to like deal with those uncomfortable situations. Actually, like because of my sister who was like quite outgoing, very like kind of sure of herself, and I would have like looked up to that and been like, wow, I wish I could be confident like that in a group. And I just kind of did it to protect myself and be like, if I act like I'm okay, then I am.
Mm.
And
Fake it till you make
yeah, now I just do it naturally. If I'm a bit nervous in a group full of people, my general rule of thumb is just be like really nice and like find everything really funny, and like I don't know, it just kind of helps. But usually that's actually me being like, okay, this is uncomfortable and I'm a bit shy right now. Just laugh. It's funny.
Oh, it's grand.
And I always think people can see right through me, that they're like, wow, she's so uncomfortable right now. But I really don't think they do, because usually if I ask people like what your opinion of me is, they're like, oh, just that you're like really bubbly and friendly. And I'm like, oh, okay.
They can't see me inwardly hyperventilating. Sweet.
Yeah. Like inside my brain, there's just like a child going, ah! And outside, I'm like, hey guys, love your hair.
I think I've trained myself a little bit, like over the years, because obviously, like with my job, I have to be in front of people all the time and talk to them. So that's made me a lot better. But I still feel like when I go into certain social situations and I'm not ready for it, I'm just like nothing. And then like
Yeah.
I'll just follow Peter around or something. Like I literally did that last Christmas Eve. I just like told Peter, I was like, I'm just gonna follow you around for a while because I'm just not really comfortable with all the groups that are here, and I didn't really want to talk to most of them, so I just kind of followed him around for a while and just sat there quietly until I found people I wanted to talk to.
So fair. Christmas Eve drinks is like a really stressful situation for me. I presume you're talking about like in the what the feckin' name? Like Sands or Country Club or something.
Oh no,
Christmas
we go to
Eve.
Malahide. I like Jesus Christ. If I went to the Sands at a country club, I'd probably be even worse because everyone from Port Marnock would be there and I'd just leave.
Yeah, that's my situation. Now, I think you very much had like friends. You were friends with people from Malahide, weren't you?
Yeah, I became
Are friends from Malahide, yeah. So like I definitely did have some friends in Portmarnock and like know lots of the groups and would be friendly with lots of the groups as well. Like it's not like I have a bad relationship with people from Portmarnock, but like they wouldn't be my close friends anymore. Like mostly my close friends are people that I met after school.
Yeah.
Sitting in Sands at the country club now on Christmas Eve, and they're just all people that I know a bit and like mostly like it's not that I don't like the people or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa, there's a lot of people, a lot of mixing of groups. There's like this group over here, this group over here. I know you, but I don't know you, and I know you through this person, and blah blah blah. And it's just like, whoa,
Yeah,
overload.
that's kind of the way like mine was say last year. It's like there's a group of friends who will be like, say for instance, I know them because they're friends with Peter, and again, I like them all. I kind of know them all, but I don't really. So it's kind of like, hey, like because I am very much like Peter's girlfriend. That's no problem. They don't treat me any differently. It's just the way it is. And then the other group would have been a group that I was quite good friends with, but we had a bit of an awkwardness for the last couple of years. So then I'm like, I don't really know. Do I want to go talk to them? How to talk with them? It's getting better now. To be fair, I think things are starting to level out, so it'll probably be easier this year. But like you haven't seen them in months. You know why you haven't seen them in months, then you just don't really know how to react and talk to them.
Yeah.
And then there's the other general people of Malahide that I know because of Oscars and the whole music scene and stuff like that. So you'd be like, hey, how are you? Kind of like, and that's literally a 5 minute conversation kind of thing. So it's like not that bad. But yeah, it was a bit like for a while I was like, oh, I'm actually more stressed than ever. And I actually like going to the pub on Christmas Eve. This is really weird. I was like, oh.
I always think that I do like going to the pub on Christmas Eve, and then I go and I realize that I really don't like it. And I think it's because I like to have a few drinks.
Mm,
Okay, definitely since COVID,
a few more.
the few drinks has become a few drinks more. But like generally, I'm not mad about getting like eyed. I want a few drinks and that's all. And I don't like having loads of drinks. And I actually like getting up early on Christmas Day, and like I like
Oh,
Christmas
you're that
Day. I don't want
weirdo.
to be hungover. I'm that weirdo. I don't want to be hungover on Christmas. I don't want to be hungover ever, but like, I want to go to bed early. Like Santa has to come, and I don't know. I just like that. So if I want to go to the pub, like on Christmas Eve, I want to have like 3 drinks max.
Mm.
And I feel like anytime I've ever gone, there's just been this massive pressure on me to like keep going. And honestly, like I've just experienced so much negativity there that people just don't understand that like I just want to go home and that's fine. And I would really enjoy my few drinks that I'll drink really slowly over the course of a few hours.
Mm.
And I've always felt real like pressured because that's just the way I prefer to drink. Not always, like sometimes I do like drink more and want to like let my hair down and just party, but generally speaking I prefer it that way.
Mm.
And this kind of segues nicely back to our title. I would probably end up, just to keep like people happy, I would end up like drinking more and making myself drunker than I want to be, and then like resenting that I'm drunk, resenting that I've had a hangover, all because I just tried to like do what other people want me to do
Yeah.
instead of like sticking to my guns. So yeah, I think
So
that is a big one.
yeah.
Is like I've always felt like peer pressured to drink more than I want to.
Yeah. And that is like, and then you end up doing that because you actually care. But they think a little bit,
Yeah.
like a little bit, like. So when
Oh,
the thing
totally.
is
Like,
that,
sure,
like,
it kind of, in previous friendships, like, it almost would have been like a criteria for the friendship, like, that you have to, like, be getting drunk, like, and that was part of like the rules of
Mm.
my friendship with that person. And no blame, like absolutely not blaming the person, but like it was just kind of the setup of our friendship. And if I ever didn't, then there would be consequences, like the person would be mad at me, or like there'd be a fight, or there'd be like tension or something. So I honestly learned that, like, okay, in order to keep people happy and in order to keep people like being my friend, I have to follow these drinking rules that actually don't work for me. So that's what, like, why I ended up just quitting drinking altogether, was because I was like, it's so much easier to just be like, I do not drink,
Yeah.
and then people just have to accept it, rather than being like, I'll drink a little bit but then I'm done. I find people find that so weird, like the judgment. They're like, what, you're having 2 drinks and that's it? What the fuck, you do drink, like.
Yeah.
And I'm, yeah, but I'm done now. Or like that there'd be different rules on different nights. There'd be nights that I want to drink loads, and then there's nights that I want to drink like a 7 Up. I'm like, that's grand. And people just not understanding that. Like, so I would end up just being like, fine, I'm just not drinking at all.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think it's easier to say you're not drinking, other than, oh, I'm just gonna have 1 or 2. Because
Yeah,
I've
people
been in
just
those
don't understand it.
situations. Like, now, to be fair, when I go out, I don't generally go out for 1 or 2. So I, like, generally, if I'm not drinking, I'm not drinking. And I have had them being like, "Oh, why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you drinking?" And I'm just like, I'm not. So it's like I've done things where, like, I've driven on a night out, because then they can't give out me, like, "Well, why aren't you drinking?" I drove. Oh, okay, that's it. Conversation over.
Yeah.
But I think people know now as well. Well, especially people, my friends, because even I noticed it the other day. Like, we were on a Zoom thing, and I had like 4 little gin cans, and I was like, "Oh, I want to get up early, so I'm not gonna have any more." And I was like Peter, like, "Oh, do you want some wine?" And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna do it." And then when the lads was like, "Oh, Chrissy, come on," and I was like, "Nope." And then they just stopped, because they've just know there's no point anymore. Like, they'll just be like, "Boo," and
Yeah,
they just know it's like half hours, because they know that I'm just gonna be like, "No, it's all."
I know. It's honestly, it's a better way to be. Like, I think as well, people are, look, I've totally done it as well. I've like pushed people into drinking more because I'm like, I'm on a buzz and I want other people to be there with me. And I'm
That's
like,
right.
woo, let's drink more. Come on. We've all done that. Like, I don't think I would do it now because honestly, like, people's relationship with alcohol is like, I feel like quite delicate, and you don't know someone's background or whatever. Like, for me, I know if I drink loads often, like, I'll could potentially get depressed,
Yeah.
like, genuinely. And I'm not just saying like feel a bit shit, like proper, like have to deal with depression. And like, I don't want to do that. So if I like was on the piss, absolutely getting gee-eyed every weekend, I could pretty much guarantee you that I'm going to end up with a bout of depression, be at the doctor's, have to quit my job. Like, I just don't want to do that. And I've learned that through time. So I know, like, okay, I can drink like that every now and then. But apart from that, a few drinks is all I can do.
No, that's fair.
And totally fair. And it's not my place to explain that to anyone either. Someone just says like they've had 1 beer and they're like, no, I'm good. That's all I'm having. Like, just leave them. That's grand. Like, maybe they struggle with their mental health, or maybe they are full. Like, sometimes when I drink lots, I'm actually just full. And I don't want more. I think now I've learned, as I'm an old lady, like, to not judge people on it so much. I definitely have. Look, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I 100% did, but I've learned my lesson, because now I realize how stressful I used to find it when I'd end up like getting myself locked just to make myself not have a fight with someone,
Mm.
just so that they wouldn't like be mad at me, which is just a terrible thing to do. So if you're out there and that's a situation that you're in, it's not a good one.
No. I think like
You
that,
know.
though, you have to
And if
be
someone's
sure of yourself to make those decisions as well. And when you're not like that, that's why you end up doing what others say, because you don't like fully believe in yourself as well. Like, you're like, "Oh, this is my
yeah,
decision," but you're not fully committed to decisions. So you're like, "Okay, yeah, I better do that, 'cause that's what they want." Whereas, like, whenever I'm in those situations, I'm like, "No, I'm not doing it." End of. And then they're just like,
yeah.
"Oh, fine." Peter.
And do you think that comes from a place of like being self-assured, like having like that confidence in yourself?
I think, well, see, I think I can't say I'm fully confident in myself, but I'm really hard-headed. So if I decide on something, I'm doing it a lot of the time. And I like, sometimes if I'm sure of that decision, I'm like, no, I've decided this is what I'm doing. Like, so generally, like, say those situations come up for me, like, oh, I'm taking a month off drinking, so I'm in the pub, and people are like, "Nah, nah, nah," and I'm like, no, I'd made this decision, and now you question me because I'm a hard nosed bitch. I'm going to end up go get really, really stubborn and not do it because that's what you want me to do, and that's not what I'm gonna do. So I think a lot of it's to do with that. Like, I'm very argumentative and confrontational. So if you're challenging me on something I want to do, I'm going to dig my heels in. Now I'm definitely not doing it.
That's awesome though. It is really good that you have that determination to, like, if you've made a decision, you're gonna go with it.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm definitely more easily swayed.
I've learned to channel that though, because I've always been very, I think, anti everything. So if someone tells me one thing, my automatic reaction is to go the other way. And especially if I feel like someone's telling me what to do, I'm like, well, fuck you now. I'm gonna do this.
That's good though. I love that.
Yeah, so it caused a lot of troubles in my teens between me and my dad. We're both very similar in that sense. However, now I've learned to channel it into more positive ways. Like, okay, you're gonna, set a challenge for yourself. Do the challenge. Not, oh, you're not gonna do this? Fine, I'll do it anyway. But like, it's that kind of thing. So then I have to argue with
Yeah.
myself, going, oh, I don't want to do that. Saying like, you are gonna do it. You set the challenge.
So now you just have the arguments with yourself.
Yeah. So I try to channel it more positively now, and it is much better than when I was younger. And I was like, no, fuck you all. I'm gonna do what I want.
That's so funny, like, because I feel like I was a bit like that too when I was younger. Like, I'd say I would have mostly been like super quiet, but every now and then, probably because I just held so much back, I'd be like quiet in school for the most part, and then every now and then I would just blow up because something would really offend me or piss me off. And I think like all the things I never said that hurt my feelings or whatever, and I just held them in, come out at one time, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And like I would just go crazy at someone for like something that wasn't that big a deal. And then I'd just be like, okay, done now. And I'd like go back to being quiet for a few months.
I'm definitely one of those ones who blows up from time to time,
Yeah.
which is something I really need to work on, because there's other things like, I know Peter gave out to me about it before, because I just don't say anything, and then I'm just like, "Wah."
Yeah, I think maybe I do it less now. I think, yeah, I've learned how to express myself a little bit better now.
Mm,
And also I'm just a little bit more chilled because I'm happier in myself.
yeah,
Like I think when I was younger, I was very much just trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted to be and all those things, as we all are,
oh yeah,
it's a journey. Um,
still figuring it out.
and oh, for sure, I don't even know who the flock I am. Doing my best. This year has definitely made it difficult.
Your voice went
It's
up like
just like,
2 octaves there, being like, ah!
ah! I know this 2020 has seriously put a big blockage in my self-growth journey, but you gotta just keep going. I saw where did I see it? Maybe it was on TikTok because I've recently re-downloaded my TikTok just because it's fucking gas. And I actually got a new one
I
so
thought that.
that I would have like a new algorithm. Because last time I don't know what like TikTok algorithm I ended up on, but I just ended up on 14-year-old girls wearing bikinis doing sexy dances all the time. And I was like, okay, I've seen it. I don't care. Can I have funny dogs now? So I just started a whole new a whole new TikTok, and it's been quite fun. I've been enjoying it. But I saw people like talking about their 2020 resolutions and just been like, bah, that's hilarious. Didn't do any of these things. And I need to go find mine now because I did set resolutions, and normally I do keep my resolutions. But I don't know this year if I did.
I did one for sure. One, in my defense, I couldn't do because it got cancelled because of COVID. So
Fair.
I'm
And in
like,
fairness, you actually did as well as you could do under those circumstances. Like you still ran
yeah, still haven't run half
probably.
marathon distance, but I've gotten to 10. 10 was the longest, 10 miles. So that's like, that'll do me for now.
It's fucking class. I've just taken out my 2020 diary. Hang on, I'm gonna see if I've written it in here. This is gonna be gas. Where are my resolutions? Oh yeah, well it's the year of being simple anyway.
Yeah, that happened.
That that definitely happened. Things have been much more simple probably than I anticipated, as I don't get to do anything ever. Okay, here we go. Save some money. Not really. um,
I can tell from that that definitely didn't happen.
well, it's only November. Develop routines that suit me. Can't really remember what I meant by that.
You kind of
I,
have done that.
yeah, I think that's fine. Apologize less. Yeah, I'd say I do that. I don't think I apologize for myself very much anymore.
You apologize a lot if you haven't been online.
Yes, I do, and that's because I feel guilty
Yeah.
because I do it all the time. And you know what? I should actually stop apologizing for it because it's such an empty apology because I do it again. It's not that I'm, you know what I mean? Like I don't learn my lesson and go, oh crap, I did that by accident and I won't do it again. I will do it again because I'm shit at my phone. And I don't think I actually should apologize for that anymore because it's actually good.
I'm kind of used to you doing it as well, because like, oh, Yvonne's just probably having her time off, whatever, doing something. So like, if I don't hear from you all day and then you text me and word, sorry, I'm like, yeah, I just assumed you were Yvonne about.
Yvonning about. Yeah, I just honestly forget that it's like I also fake reply to people all the time. I've replied in my head, and then the next day I'm like, oh, I never replied. Like I'll full on think that I'm waiting on a reply and realize that actually I was the one that never replied. That happens me legit every day. But also, yeah, I just like will leave my phone in another room, forget it exists. And honestly, that is good. Like that's the
Yeah,
way we should be. I don't
exactly.
think we should be attached to the phone all the time. And like the people I care about, like my friends and stuff, like I do get back to them like the next day or something. And like obviously if it was important, I would remember. But if it's just like chats, like
Yeah,
you know, yeah, I might take a few hours to respond.
that's grand.
So yes, you are right. I will apologize less for that. And then I wrote meditate and wash your face. Yeah, I do meditate and I do wash my face. So unreal.
My third one, what was my third one? Read more. Now, technically, I've read a lot of stuff, but they've all been BuzzFeed articles and not actually read books. So, um,
It's still reading.
yeah, so technically, like, I spent 3 hours reading the other day. It was all absolute shite, but I did.
Maybe next year it should be read more books.
Yeah, I think I tried to have one book a month or something like that, maybe. No, it wasn't even that. I don't think I was that specific because I didn't trust myself. I used to read
One
them.
book a month can be hard. Like
Yeah,
it depends. You see, there's books that you devour, and then there's books that you take longer to read, and that's grand. Like
I used to read on my lunch break because, like, I remember I read the Fitness Mindset really quickly on my lunch breaks in the arena because they only had half an hour, so you get maybe 10 minutes. And then when I started reading The Power Now, that just fell apart because it was too difficult to read for 10 minutes.
fucking hell, the power now.
I beat it though.
I I love the concept. Okay, like the sentence. I okay. Well, unpopular opinion, and I'm gonna do it. I think the power of now could be summed up in one sentence. And I really like that sentence. I believe in it wholeheartedly that all we have is now.
Mm.
That's it. Everything else in that book, I think, is absolute uh, farts. Like, I just don't know. And like, people love it. People are like mad about it. And I'm like, what are you reading? Am I reading something else? I
I,
can't get into it and I
I
feel
thought it was
bad.
good, but I thought it was very difficult to read, and I think there was a bit like too much of the same stuff for a lot of it. Like, it could have been a smaller book, or I did think it
I
was good.
really
Like,
want
I
to.
really enjoyed it, the concept of it and stuff. But yeah, there was a bit much, and it was a very difficult read. I found. I don't know why, but it was very difficult to read.
No, it is really hard. And like I'm a good reader, like I read a lot and I found that really, really hard. And then I know people who are not mad readers or whatever, and they just like picked it up and read it and were like, oh my God, that book like changed my life and they're like obsessed with it. But I don't know what I'm missing. Like I love a good self-help. I love like, personal growth books and stuff like that. And I love the idea of it. Like and I definitely believe that all we have is now, and like, you know, nothing else exists but now, and like, you know, it's a nice thing. And sometimes if I'm be super stressed, I will think about that. I'm like, okay, what's happening right now? Like, you're breathing, you're alive, you're fine. Like,
Yeah.
let's just focus on this moment. But an entire book of that, and like there's things in it that I'm like, hang on, what? I can't remember now, but like there's things in it that are it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just doesn't, like, the words honestly don't make sense. It's like I'd have to read the same sentence 50 times,
Yeah, I get you.
you know?
Michelle, here's one. Do you
What
think
were your other? Oh, sorry, yeah, go on.
that was only a 3? I've done one of them.
Oh.
Do you think you can spot someone who really cares about what they think about themselves? What other people think
Mm,
about them? Sorry, what other people think about them?
yeah, yeah, sorry, I actually heard it as that, yeah. Yeah, I think you can. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you can see insecure people. And I think it often presents itself as different to what we might imagine.
Mm.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think of, yeah, I just think people maybe that take themselves super serious. You know, sometimes I would almost be like, oh, you take yourself so seriously, almost like an insult. Like, I don't like I don't like that in a person.
Mm.
But then if I break it down and think about it, I'm like, they probably are just really super insecure, and that's why they can't laugh about it, or they take themselves so seriously. And I'm really lucky that I've managed to like feel quite secure in who I am and not care what people think of me.
Yeah.
People, it's actually really, it's a really big challenge if you care what people think of you, and I don't think it's something you can just turn off. So
Mm.
like, it's something you have to work on. So yeah, maybe I would sympathize with people who care a lot what people think. Sure, what it would look like. I'm trying to think of a person now, like an individual, but I can't think of one right now.
Like, I don't think it's necessarily going to be like, say, for instance, one about it, just like take someone who has makeup on all the time, who has everything done to the nines, who may have lip job, that kind of thing, like all that kind of plastic surgery or stuff. Like, obviously they care, but sometimes they do because they don't like it in themselves and they want to make themselves feel better. Just like anyone, like going to the gym or something, sometimes they just want to feel better. It's not about people around them. But I think you'd be
Yeah.
surprised at some of the people who obviously really care more. Like, you might notice someone who Instagram feed being your highlight reel. So you see the highlight reel, blah blah, blah, and no one ever says anything. But then like you're talking to them and they're just giving out about everything. So it's like, why are you posting about it and then complaining about it to your friends? Like, you obviously don't like it, but it looks good, so you're putting it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I like that can be the most normal looking person you ever see. Like, do you know what I mean?
I know, yeah.
Or like,
I think
go on.
yeah, there is probably like an association with, say, people who like wear lots of makeup or like really care about their clothes or how they look and stuff. I wouldn't necessarily think that that's possibly, but yeah, like you said, I don't think always. I think some people are just really interested in makeup and clothes and cosmetic surgery and stuff. Like, I don't care. Whatever you like, it's cool.
You do you?
Um yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, probably there is some people maybe that are doing that because they want people to think that they're beautiful, or they want people to think that they're attractive or whatever.
Hmm.
But then there's probably lots of people who just do it because they like it. And there's no judgment either way, by the way. Like, whatever you do is for you. A reason to like think that someone is like really, really cares what people. I think a lot of people, it's more of a like hidden thing that, yeah. And I think, okay, am I going to be able to say this in a way that makes any sense? I think probably there's lots of people who put it out there that they don't care what people think in order to create that version of themselves. Like, they want people to think that they don't care what they think,
Yeah.
but actually that's a really planned thing. So it's actually just as important for that person to be like, I don't care what you think of me, and I'm going to make that really clear to you, just so that, because I'm trying to manipulate how you think of me,
Yeah.
which is the opposite of what they're saying. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that was me in school.
I don't know if I ever went through that phase. I mean, possibly now. I'm trying to think if I'm one of those people now, but I don't really think so. I think I genuinely just don't really care,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I think yeah as well. Like when you were talking about like people taking themselves too seriously as well, like stuff like that. If people are getting wound up about like the stupidest little thing, like that's a big indication, I think, as well. You're like, oh, how's it gonna look? Oh,
Yeah,
how's it gonna look? You know, that kind of thing, and you're just like, who gives a shit? Fine, you didn't.
I know.
Oh, sorry, you didn't get the email over to your boss yesterday or some shit like that. Like, it's not gonna look. Your boss is gonna forget tomorrow. You know,
Yeah,
unless
it's
it's
all
something
about
that's
like
gonna crash the company, they'll have forgotten by tomorrow.
yeah, it's this thing that like it's always like how will I be perceived in this moment? Like how are other people how am I being seen right now and wanting to be seen in a certain way?
Yeah,
So like I forgot to send this email, therefore I am being perceived as being like forgetful or not hardworking or not being reliable or whatever. But the reality is like all those things like you know if you're a hardworking person or if you're a whatever whatever and like if someone is perceiving you in any way that's different, that's actually not on you,
yeah.
it's on them. Like you know yourself better than anyone else, I think. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna quote RuPaul again because I have learned so many wonderful things from RuPaul, but he says what anyone else thinks of you is none of your business.
Mm,
And I think that is so perfect. Like, so if someone does have an opinion of you that you know is wrong, like if someone is like, oh my God, I think Chrissy is fucking lazy, like, be like, all right,
yeah.
fine, think that. Like, I'm not lazy, but I don't need to prove it to you.
This one thing I've got from Brian Keane as well. Have you ever heard of the purple polar bear?
No,
Okay, so
sounds cute though.
basically, if someone, say for instance, like that, you're saying they call me lazy, and I don't think I'm lazy, and I'm offended by that, and that really pissed me off. They called me lazy, like, and like that's an emotional response to like, I'm not. I work really hard. Why would you think I'm lazy? Whereas if they turn around and call me a purple polar bear, I'd be like, eh? Oh yeah, no, I'm not. So whatever. So think of it that
Yeah.
way. Anytime someone calls you something or something that you really care about pisses you off, reframe it and it's like, would you feel the same if someone called you a purple polar bear? Like, like it's,
I'd love if someone called me a purple polar bear.
but like it's when you think about
Be
it, that's
so
how
cute.
ridiculous it is. Like you'd be like, of course I'm not a fucking purple polar bear. They don't even exist. That's ridiculous. Whereas like if someone
Which is
calls you something
funny
that
it
you would
is.
emotionally like attach to yourself, you're gonna flip off and be like, oh no, I'm not. Why would you say that about me?
That's the thing. I
Mm.
think it's because like if someone says something, okay, someone says you're a purple polar bear, you're not going to be emotionally invested in it because it's not real.
Yeah,
And you're like, okay, whatever, shut up. And it would be funny and you'd be like, you're crazy. But
yeah,
if someone says something about you that you potentially have an insecurity about,
yeah,
like if someone told me that I was a racist,
yeah,
I would be really, really upset by it because I am like a white woman. So the potential that I am a racist is real.
yeah,
And okay, absolutely not a racist, but like, you know, if somebody said something like that to me, I'd be really, really upset because I'm like, oh my God, they actually think that I am.
mm,
Or if somebody said to me, like, oh, Yvonne is wasting her life because she's just a waitress, I would be super upset because that's something that I genuinely be insecure about. Like, even though I don't think that about myself, like I really don't. I don't believe that to be true. But it's something like that I really wouldn't want other people to think of me. So it would be hard. But purple polar bear, like
yeah.
okay. But I know I totally hear what you're saying.
So totally, like, so like if anyone ever calls you something that you're insecure about, just be like, what would I think if they called me a purple polar bear? And then you just keep going and you do you and go. They can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. I like it too, especially because it's purple polar bear. It sounds funny.
It's just honestly adorable.
Yeah,
Like I want to be a purple polar bear.
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. It looks different from all the rest of the polar bears.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a
All
joke.
right, Chrissy, I'd say we will leave it there for today.
I think so. Yeah, that was good covering, and as usual, a little ramble off into different
Yeah. We never stay on track, but whatever.
No.
It's a loose conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Have a general topic.
Well, Chrissy, thank you so much for all your insights. Good to chat as always. And thank you all for tuning in and listening again. We really appreciate all the support. So we will see you, well, talk to you all next week.
Next week, yeah. But also, where can we found?
Where can we be found? I'm back on TikTok, but I actually can't even remember my name. I think it might be like Yvonne Hega 1 or something.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm not
You said it,
posting
follow me.
anything. Yeah. I'm just watching. I'm not posting anything. So like you can follow me if you want, but like for no reason. And Instagram, I'm not really using. Selling my art on Depop at Yvonne Hega. And that's it. Chrissy, what about you?
You will find me on Instagram as Chrissy H Fitness and also on TikTok as Chrissy H Fit. So if you want good information about how to get fit, follow my Instagram. If you want to see me being a tit, follow my TikTok. And that's the best way of saying it.
Yeah. Or just do both and have the best of both worlds.
There's that too. We could do that as well.
Yes. Great, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll chat.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to Why Not podcast with Yvonne and Chrissy. We appreciate any support, so please subscribe and share and like the podcast if you can.